Hey Zen fam, I just wanted to take a moment or two to discuss Watch Dogs Legion, or Watch Dogs 3 if you like. As you probably know, I'm quite looking forward to this particular game. I was very impressed by the demo at the Ubisoft conference, and I have enjoyed the previous Watch Dogs games. You may have heard me speak upon these in the past. And yeah, I love all the ideas they're talking about. Like this idea that, you can be, having this large army of people that you've recruited and nobody else can have an army like yours. Of course, we have to ask, how is this possible? Is like apparently they've got like all this clever voice modulation, so they've got like loads of lines of dialogue recorded in lots of different accents, and they've got a bit of voice modulation on the male voices, the female voices, and the different types of London accent, so that they can have enough variation so that when you pick somebody they're not going to sound the same. And obviously they've got different body archetypes, so different types of movement attached to them. So even though we saw that one person doing that incredible kick against that Albion soldier's head, in that pure sort of Jackie Chan madness, it's sort of like not everybody will fight like that. Like I doubt the wee old lady, what's her name, Helen I think it is going to fight like that. So I think they obviously will adjust it to the parameters of the character. The other question we have to ask is, how big is it? Is it the actual size of the actual London? Because when they just recently did Division 2, it's a near one-to-one representation. It's not quite the right size, but it's almost the right size, to the point that if you live in Washington DC and you're playing the Division 2, you can find your way around. That's a hell of a concept. I mean, that's something I've spoken of before in my Grand Theft Auto Edinburgh video, where I love the idea of where you live being completely, digitized, and street for street, beat for beat, building for building. Yeah. So if it is properly London, that would be kind of awesome. Because although London is a big city, when you compare it to other American cities, it's not as big. Because this country is just not as big as America is. That's just fact. We're a teeny weeny tiny little island. I mean, we only look big on the map because our maps are based upon imperialist ideas from our Victorian forebearers. Go grab yourself or Google yourself a geographical equality map and you'll see exactly what I mean. Hell, some of the countries in that sucker aren't even where you expect them to be, or most importantly, the size you expect them to be. It's amazing how those in charge want you to think different things, but that's a separate video. That's for the meeting we're having later at the docks. Right, so will London be one-to-one? That'd be nice. We have the accent sorted. That'd be nice. Obviously, I think you're probably going to be pushed around a little bit. So, the game will say, find somebody with hacking skills, or drone hacking skills, or whatever, or somebody with combat capabilities. Then what it's probably going to do is probably going to bring up people in the area who don't have such great stats in that, and people who do, and you're most likely going to gravitate towards the ones that do. Just a thought. So I think you're going to be pushed around a little bit. Now the question is, how much of London, if it is one-to-one? Is it all just central London? Are we going to get into the boroughs? Are we going to get to the outskirts? It's intriguing. Obviously we're going to involve the Thames, I would imagine, so there probably will be some boaty stuff. Will there be any helicopter stuff? Probably not, considering we can get about on the drones. We've all seen that gigantic drone that the woman goes into Camden Black Market and flies about on. So I'm guessing that's going to be another form of transportation. And there will be cars, and you can have cars, and that's great. You've always been able to do that. And there does seem to be a lot of interesting aspects. One of the things I wonder about, however, if this is set in a post-Brexit London, I got to ask two questions. One, what is that Union Jack all about? Because it's got like that yellowy colour. Now forgive me, I'm colorblind. It could be green, but it looks like a yellowy colour going round the main cross part of the Union Jack, where that section used to be white. Because for those of you outside of the UK, the Union Jack flag itself, right? You've got the flag, right? So it's made up of the Scotland flag, which is the blue background with a white cross going through it. Okay, it's made of the St George's cross. Okay, so that's like a white background with a red cross upon it, or cross. One superimposed upon the other, and to somehow add in the Welsh, because their flag is basically a red dragon on a white background, which is a really cool flag, by the way. They added extra lines, sort of like coming up the cross sections, that are on each side of it. On the right hand side of the spin wheel, if you will, of the cross sections from the Scottish flag. But on the edges of the actual red cross that goes through the centre of the flag, then you've got this yellowy colour. Now I want to know what that is about. I mean, is that something to do with Brexit? Is that something to do with the right-wing groups that are trying to take over the UK, that have made the UK's government even more ineffectual than it already is? It's an interesting question. Maybe if anybody out there knows things about maps, you can fill me in the comment section. That would be lovely. And the other question I have to ask, and I really have to ask this: have we got our independence in this game? Is Scotland a separate state? Is Scotland finally an independent country in WatchDogs Legion? And if it is there a chance down the line of DLC where you get to go to independent Scotland and gather resources or forces or whatever, and maybe coming with some large invasion and free England from itself? Interesting. I'll have to admit, that is an idea that really, really tickles me. And considering this game has got a season pass, it's for what? It's sort of it's you're gonna have DLC content for what? I mean, you've seen behind me flickering all these images of the gold edition, the ultimate edition, and the collector's edition. But what does it all actually mean, Ubisoft? You're gonna have to give us details. If you expect me to buy one of these extra versions, then you're gonna have to give me reasons. But I tell you one thing for certain: this ultimate edition with that king mask thing, I might like what's in it, but I don't want to put that fugly thing in my house. I mean, I've got a couple of things up there on the nice shelf for some of my gaming memorabilia. I mean, I've got my Pip-Boy, and I've got my Division 2 statue, a couple of things like that knocking around the house, and I really like them. But I'm sorry, that skull mask thing, I'm sure it's cool in the game, but in real life, in the words of David Lee Roth, honey, that dog will not hunt. It's just not going in my house, Ubisoft. I'm sorry. So You gotta tell us what's in the DLCs. Why should we buy the season pass? Okay. What's with this discoloration section on the UK flag? Is Scotland independent in the game? Yeah, that's what I want to know. And these other editions? How much? Considering it's only the first two, I've only really got digital content. Ooh, and some stickers. If they're if they go up way too much, I don't see them selling. Don't get me wrong, I think the game is going to sell like hotcakes, but I think your special editions are gonna languish. That simple. Anyway, guys, you know the drill. Rate, favourite, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, as always, aye, nae bother.